lovers, settle in because we've got a story. I'm Nell.
And I'm Rose, and today we're bringing you the tea.
Across eras.
This is a little bit of a extra bonus time
Yeah, we have a bonus.
because we just really had a lot to talk about after actually watching the Met Gala, and I have a lot more thoughts about it now than I think I ever have.
Right. So we're going to talk about some of the people we saw on the red carpet and how well we think they fit into the theme.
It's funny how extremely quickly the snarky bitch in all of us comes out when it comes to a fashion parade.
Yeah,
I think they're just made to make us kind of snarky.
right. And I mean, I was watching it last night wearing like my gardening Crocs, some pajama pants that are like have stars printed on them but are super faded, and then a My Chemical Romance t-shirt from Hot Topic.
Yeah, clearly my giant sweatshirt / dress and fluffy panda socks were the place from which to pontificate about fashion.
Absolutely. So just a reminder, the theme for the Met was super fine tailoring black style. And then there's always like side themes, and tailored to you was kind of one of them, along with like men's fashion, suits, and black dandyism.
And I loved that suit was part of the theme. And I do think that a lot of people really hit that. I think a lot of other people just took the tailored for you and went, oh, thing that I would enjoy wearing. That.
Yes.
But also, when you were saying that the designers are the ones that approach people and are kind of making all of the visual calls there, I'm curious how that intersects with the tailored to you thing. I think that maybe it's not quite as narcissistic as it feels.
Probably not. Someone, I don't remember who, was being interviewed by Ego, and who is the other lady interviewing with her? Oh, Tiana Taylor, I believe.
Which one was the one with the fabulous hat?
The big red hat?
Yes.
Tiana Taylor. She just got a divorcee from her husband who won a season of Dancing with the Stars.
Well, that's a hell of a great outfit to be introducing yourself back to the world as a single lady in.
It was a great outfit. But whoever they were interviewing, she was saying that she like told her ideas and thoughts to her designer, who I believe was standing right next to her, and then they took it from there.
Okay.
Also, several designers dressed quite a few people.
I'm curious how collaborative the process is.
Yeah, so am I.
I mean, I'm sure it depends.
Let's start with the best for last. So Rihanna was spectacularly late and announced a few hours before this, I believe, that she is pregnant with baby number 3.
I mean, she's real pregnant. Was that seriously a surprise?
Yeah.
That was the first time she had been, I guess, in public since
I guess in public without
starting the show.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't follow her that much.
Well, good for her and congratulations. The dress looked like she had done a real elegant version of tying somebody's suit coat around her waist. Elegant being like a really sliding scale there, because the sleeve looks like an exhaust vent. Like,
Yeah.
I know pregnancy farts are supposed to be scary, but did you need the whole mechanism? That's the first thing I thought, and it's not a bad outfit otherwise, but that just like, it doesn't fit her body.
It fit the theme. I think it nailed the theme. It's an interesting look.
Yeah, interesting for sure.
I
think the rest of it was great. I just don't think the shaping of the ass portion was
right.
flattering.
Like the tailored for you part missed. But and Rihanna's had such big hits at the Met that it's kind of hard to be like,
yeah, no, it's hard to be a hit every single time. Like, totally get it.
absolutely.
This is one of those ones where you kind of want to be, though.
Right. And then way earlier in the evening, we saw her baby daddy, A$AP Rocky, one of the co-chairs.
Looked great.
Handsome man. I appreciated his suit. I liked the umbrella. I liked the tailoring. I really thought the men brought it.
Yeah,
The men
really like
brought
that.
it.
I like that. That's always a joke of most red carpet events is like, oh, I wore a suit. Hey, mine came with a tie. No way, same. I didn't even have to try.
Another co-chair, Lewis Hamilton.
Looked amazing except for the hat. I'm sorry, that hat's not flattering on anybody. It's like a beret.
It's a strange hat, but he is super handsome.
He could just wrap himself in saran wrap and be just fine. Like,
Wow. Right? Well, you should wear a naked suit. Do you know how ladies wear like the naked dress?
Right. Okay, now that's the next frontier for the guys. They're actually bringing it in terms of complex, individualized fashion. The nudism is the next natural step.
I am all for like the 70s and 80s crop tops for men coming back. I think that would be fabulous.
I've always been a big fan of egalitarian nudity, even if I didn't necessarily want to see more of
Right.
whatever person is. I just think equal opportunity nudity is important because for ladies, it's just implied. You're in a
Yeah.
public, entertainment sphere is going to happen.
Yeah, it is.
With
It
guys,
is
it's a
implied and
statement.
kind of boring. Tessa Thompson, did you see her outfit?
No, I hadn't seen that one.
I believe she's an actress. I can't even think
Yes.
of off the top of my head what she's in.
I definitely recognize her. I love the Mad Hatter kind of deal going on with the hat. I guess I don't hate it, but I think the structure of the coat is kind of fighting itself.
It's an interesting structure. As a person who is not skinny, it's like things I would always avoid wearing, but it's not terrible.
I have to always remember when I'm judging these, I'm just basing it on like, would I wear it or not? Or like, would I enjoy that or not? And I know
Right.
that is not the point of these costumes.
Right. When I look at them, I try to think theme. So Zendaya,
Gorgeous.
she's always gorgeous. It's a nice suit. I love the cut of the pants.
The hat fits her correctly.
Yeah,
That's
it's
like what a big floppy hat should do.
so good.
Mm-hmm.
Dochi.
Loved that. And I didn't expect to, but it fits her so well.
It does fit her well. And I think it fits the theme enough
Mhm.
as if I could afford Louis Vuitton, but I have a annoyance with a designer's look just being their logo.
Yeah, no, it's not trying. And I know Louis Vuitton is a little bit separate because
It is.
they've made that their trademark in more ways than one. But it always it feels like wrapping paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Vogue's live stream cut off before this happened,
Hmm.
but did you see Kim Kardashian?
No.
Okay. I don't understand the hat unless it's like a shout out to Beyonce or maybe just part of the thing. Her outfit did look like 1,000 crocodiles were murdered. It was tailored for her, you know?
That it's the same texture as Miley Cyrus's jacket.
Yes, I thought the same thing about her
Mhm.
jacket.
Like they kind of coordinated.
I was happy to see Miley there. I just think she's so cute. I did see someone who's like, she's got a problematic past with like black culture, but at the same time, I love Miley. I'll defend her forever. Maybe depends.
Yeah,
Anyways,
right.
but anyways, but at the same time, I also see people are like, well, if they're learning from their mistakes, so I don't know.
I think if you can evolve into becoming a good ally, then that's time well spent. I don't know if that'll necessarily make up for lacks in the past, but
Right. And Miley's
Progress.
dress was pretty. It did look like an alligator on the top.
Mhm.
I was just happy to see Miley. Okay, this is who we were talking about on the phone earlier, Amy Lee Wood.
Oh yeah, no, that was super cute. And I love the flowered socks. You can't see them in this picture, but
Oh
she,
my
I
gosh,
don't
yes.
know if she made them herself, but
No, I think in the interview she said the designer did them.
okay, yeah, because her boyfriend was kind of joking with her, like, I told her I want a pair when we get home, and they were a cute pair.
They were. And I said Amy Lee Woods. I'm sorry, it's Amy Lou Wood.
Mm.
And I know her from the TV show Sex Education,
Mm.
but she's also in The White Lotus, which I have not watched. Sorry.
No, I have not either.
And then Bridgerton Hottie. I don't know how to say his name. It's French.
Mm.
I'm gonna let Rose try.
Regé Jean Page,
Sure.
possibly.
He
That's a
looks
guess.
good in anything.
Yeah, honestly, yes.
Do you know who else looked really good? Bad Bunny. Did you see Bad Bunny?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so I am old, so I don't know if I've ever heard a Bad Bunny song, but the man is handsome. Also, he's petty, which I appreciate. He just announced his world tour,
Mhm.
and it has absolutely 0 spots in the USA outside of Puerto Rico, where he's from. Sabrina Carpenter
Oh, which one was her? Oh, pantsless. Yep.
She wore what she always wears.
Which, to be honest, she can pull off, and it did look very cute.
Yeah. And it had a suit theme at the top. I appreciate it. I'm into the suit theme, you know.
Clearly well fitted, tailored for her. She understood the assignment.
She did. She did. And like she was saying in one of the interviews, she's like, I'm short. So they said no pants, really tall heels. And I was like, yep, that's your vibe.
Yeah.
She's cute. Oh, Amy Lou. I don't know if that's her boyfriend or not. It's
Mhm.
definitely her White Lotus co-star. That was Patrick Schwarzenegger.
Oh, for. Okay, well, if they're not dating, they should, because they definitely had a very cute couple vibe.
And his suit ate. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I shouldn't say that. That's for the young, cool folks. I loved
Whatever.
it. I liked the cut. I thought it was tailored well.
Mm.
There were some people who showed up in big suits that was giving me like early 2000s NBA draft,
Shoulder pads have never been our friends, sweethearts, and we should stop pretending like they are.
right?
Oh, I love Mindy Kaling's look. No, I was talking to you about this earlier. It fits her well.
It does.
It's elegant. It's like business suit-esque without,
Uh-huh.
I don't know, sacrificing the line. Like, I think that's just very well done.
You mentioned Demi Moore's 3D outfit.
Yeah, I don't feel like that hit at all. It was like a combination of a freeway on-ramp and a halo. And I'm not
I-
sure which one she was going for, but I doubt either.
Yeah, I don't know. It was okay. Demi Moore looks great. Glad to see you. Did you see Madonna?
No, that's not a great look. It's not
Yeah.
flattering. It's got a very like conductor of the orchestra vibe.
Yeah, I wasn't totally feeling it.
Mm.
Jodie Turner-Smith, she's always a hottie.
Yes, I saw her walking in, and I really liked her outfit.
Me too. It was great. It was super great. Lorde was there. I was surprised, and then this morning I saw she has a new song out, and it was kind of simple, like comparatively.
I think that kind of is off theme. I think this was not a year for simplicity.
Right, and maybe if I saw a picture of her with the suit jacket on, I'm not sure, because like the pants, the dress kind of gives me like tie vibes or something, so I can kind of grasp at it.
Yeah, like I can see that. Like it's an updated take on the tie. But I mean, if she was wearing the suit coat, it would just look like somebody who was slightly daring at a work conference.
Right, right.
And again, that's not the point. This is a costume parade.
Well, Lana Del Rey came in a costume.
Mhm.
It's kind of giving me like flapper vibes. I don't know how themed it was.
I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily call that flappery, but the feathers.
The vibes of the hair and then the
Mhm.
long waist. That's
Okay.
it.
Oh yeah, no, I can see that.
Sorry, what about the feathers?
The feathers are really like Belle Epoque hat reminiscent, you know, when
Yeah.
everybody was hunting down birds of paradise for those
Ugh.
great little dangly feathers.
Yeah. There was a lot of them that I just didn't like or didn't get. Lizzo's outfit was fine. It had like tuxedo vibes going on.
Mhm.
Didn't really do it for me.
The mermaid silhouette, it didn't look like the transition point was as natural as many of them are. I mean, it's a tiny little quibble,
Yeah,
but man, she's usually got extraordinarily good tailoring, so.
right? I know. Pusha T.
That is a nice jacket. It is a generally fine suit.
I'm pretty sure these are like diamondy thingies.
From a distance, it's real dandruffy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It
'Cause You
is.
can see what they were trying to go for, but like,
Mhm.
look at it from a distance. That's just advice I'd give any artist. Look at your work from a distance. It's very different.
Yeah. You saw Simone Biles and her husband.
Hmm.
I thought that the dress, it was like a suit turned cheerleading outfit.
Really feels like she needs a baton in her life.
I really liked her husband's outfit.
Yeah, actually, he nailed it.
Okay. Sha'Carri Richardson, she ran track at LSU. She didn't make
Ah.
it into the Olympics a round or two ago because she tested positive for marijuana use,
Oh,
unfortunately.
that's such crap.
I know, but then she made it this last time.
Hmm.
Do I actually like the outfit? Not really.
Such a terrible color combo.
Do I like Sha'Carri Richardson enough to give her an 11 out of 10? Yes.
No, both can be true. It was interesting how many people had like puffy coat vibes.
It really was.
I thought that was very cool, the variety in which it was used.
It seemed like it was maybe raining.
Got a plan for these things. It's New
Right.
York.
Let's see. Future. Your outfit probably costs more than my house. It's a vibe.
That's true
But it
of all of
looks
them.
like a tweed tracksuit.
Oh, yeah. No, you're wearing that for mall walking, buddy. I'm sorry.
It definitely costs more than my house, though. Okay, did you see Jenna Ortega?
No.
So I didn't realize her dress was made out of the rulers that you use to measure and line your fabric.
Oh, that is super cool.
So the tailored to you and like the whole like being bound by the
Mhm.
rules of the trade.
Oh, I think that is extra hitting the theme.
See, right? And it wasn't a suit.
But it's fulfilling the spirit of the theme. It's also very bombshell 20s.
Yes.
I think it's like what whoever gold dress chick was trying to pull off. Gigi. Gigi Hadid. I think that's what she was trying to pull off with the gold dress, and I don't think she did. Jenna Ortega did.
Do you know who Gigi is dating?
Mm.
So Gigi's like 29 or 30.
Mhm.
She's dating Bradley Cooper. He's like literally 20 years older than her.
Ah, man, perks of being a male star.
Weird, in my opinion. Oh, here's Rose's favorite from the night, Jean Baptiste.
Oh, he is so awesome. I have to admit, okay, I talked a little shit because he was torturing that poor saxophone. If you're going to bring an instrument, play it, dear. We know you can.
Okay, Amelia Gray, who is Lisa Riney's daughter.
Mhm.
No.
Mm-mm. All right, from the waist up, from the waist down, it looks like your girdle got stuck and no one told you or
The
something.
diaper thing.
Yeah, it's like your foundation garment.
The diaper thing's popular. Kourtney Kardashian's wedding dress kind of had a diaper thing going on.
Seriously?
Yes.
That's
And it was made by Dolce &
a
Gabbana.
thing?
Yes.
That is okay. As our fashion icons are aging, I think the influence might be too high.
I know. Okay, let's do a few more. Let's see. There was a lot of K-pop music people there who I did not know, but they looked great. Priyanka Chopra and Nick Jonas. His outfit was fine. Hers was like, just gonna say it, it was like Cruella de Vil went to the Kentucky Derby.
And was broke because that's not even the amount of zhuzh you could have brought to that look. Like,
I know, it's like
so
a
simple.
very fancy picnic dress.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to make of it.
No, if you would actually wear it in your real life, then it's probably not Met Gala.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know where people get their inspiration from,
that's
so. Okay, is there anyone else who stood out to you?
No, I think we covered the ones that we talked about.
I think we did. Okay, guys. Well, we want to know all your hot takes on the Met Gala. And now
I'm sorry we didn't do any visual aids here, but just any of the best and worst lists, you'll be able to see who we're talking about.
Right.
But thank you so much for coming along for my uninformed opinion and
It
her
was
much
so
better
fun.
informed
Yeah.
opinion.
And now we're going to get into our real podcast.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. It's May. It's gonna be May. Just kidding, it already is May. Also, that was a short enough singing time that I don't think I can get in trouble for it.
No.
Hey, one more Met Gala thing. Did you notice last night, the ladies who were Tiana and Ego, they both kept like wanting to sing things, and they were both like, "We're not allowed to sing."
If you're gonna do more than a phrase, then it's copyrighted and very expensive.
I know. When I watched the America's Sweethearts documentary about the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, talking about how much it costs for them to use AC/DC's Thunderstruck, it's like $500,000 or something. It blew my mind.
That was one of those things I still get a little irritated about it, but I used to get much more irritated when people used the Carmina Burana, which
Is in every movie.
It's in every single movie, every single commercial, and they're like, you know that song, but everybody cuts it to hell, and it's like I mean, for lack of a better term, they leave out the drop. Yes, classical music has a drop.
I just hear rap music. Let that beat drop.
I am 60% less annoyed that people don't use the entirety of O Fortuna of the Carmina Burana, because once I understood how prohibitively expensive it was, I give them a small pass, but that does not make me happy about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so today we're talking about language, about word evolution. I think if you've listened to this for 5 seconds at all, you've heard me talk about how language evolves through slang.
Is that called etymology?
Yes, well, kind of. The study of words in general is called etymology.
Got it.
Yes. Not to be confused with entomology, which would be the study of bugs. Happen to me, it'll happen to you. But no, etymology is fascinating, and language is and always has been a moving target. And it's also something that gets flung around as like, why the young people are ruining us today's, which I think is just so disingenuous. Like, first of all, everyone uses slang. Second of all, regionality of language has always been a part of language.
Yeah.
And the evolution of language is what keeps it live. That's why we don't speak Latin anymore, is because people didn't use it as a vernacular. It stopped evolving. It stagnates. It becomes the academic language. And once we stick things up on an academic ivory tower shelf, they immediately start to degrade in the public consciousness, become that much less relevant.
Yeah, I have zero interest in anything about Latin.
Nolite te carbondorum bastardes.
Veni vidi vici?
That's a Latin joke, actually. It isn't a direct translation. But if you'd ever studied Latin in college or higher courses, somebody would have taught you that phrase, nolite te bastardes carbondorum. And it means don't let the bastards get you down. It's also what was carved in the closet in The Handmaid's Tale.
Yep.
Which is why everybody knows it now.
Yep.
You might have noticed I said it differently the two times that I've said it.
I did not.
Thing. Well, you should have.
My bad.
I'm kidding. No, but my favorite thing about Latin is that the syntax is immaterial. It's not immaterial, but basically syntax, being the order in which you must put words in a sentence, is not a must. It is a suggestion.
That's irritating.
You would think. No, the entire context of the word's meaning and its relation to the other words in the sentence is contained in its conjugation. So, and conjugation is like we did, we do, they will, like when you're changing like the tense and the direction of the word. That's what the conjugation does. But so the word order in Latin is based on what you would like to emphasize. So the last word in the sentence is always held over so that you pay attention to the rest of the sentence.
Okay.
The thing that you find the most important, you will place at the end of the sentence so that you don't lose your audience halfway through.
Okay.
Isn't that wild?
That is. That's so interesting.
The evolution of language being regional is something that we think of as more of a historical kind of construct, where like, if you don't have the ability to travel to the village 20 miles away from you, you will never know how they said eggs. So in the 14th century, two different versions of the word egg. There was egg and ere, which E-Y-E-R-E.
Okay.
And equally valid, equally linguistically correct. But because Chaucer decided to use the word egg, that became the common pronunciation because he had such a specific space where his version of language was actually getting disseminated in a much wider area, because that was something the common people were reading as much as nobility.
Okay.
Yeah. But we think of ourselves now as a much more global society, that regionality is really less relevant. But honestly, I think especially in terms of language, regionality for us, our regions have become our hobbies and our interests and our opinions, because those are the spaces in which we hang out with people. They're tailored to a topic rather than a geographical convenience.
Okay.
So if I am talking with, a thread of people on Reddit, we're not all talking because we're all in San Antonio. We might be, but we're much more likely to be talking because we all love The Princess Bride.
Yes.
And those are still going to be spaces in which language evolves. We all love an inside joke.
Right.
That's one of the places that language shifts start. I guess we've gained the ability to self-select our regions.
Yeah.
Which I think is good and bad.
It's interesting, that's for sure. I'm at the age, where I'm like not keeping up with what's cool. I don't really care anymore. And
I think we care, but for different reasons. I think now it's interesting, where before it was like, oh, this is a prerequisite for life.
Yes, maybe
it's
that's
optional now.
Right. Like I never have to actually say skibbity.
Which that one I believe was one of the words that was actually added to the dictionary. At least
do believe it was.
Memory. And that's another point where people are like, oh, why are we adding slang to the dictionary, or why are we adding these phrases that aren't technically from our language? Well, I have answers.
I was like, well, because we're going to use it.
The words that are added to the dictionary, I think they started representing our feelings about the time. Like, and I think that means it's definitely representative of the opinions of the editors.
Right. Like quiet quitting made the
Right.
dictionary a couple years ago.
Right. And that one is one that is hotly debated, but more for its morality than its definition.
Amal, doesn't everyone just work like that automatically, whether we had it as a name or not?
Why has it been named as a pejorative when you are not being compensated for any additional work that you're doing? So the satisfaction that you derive from being overworked is all the satisfaction you're going to get, and not
No.
being okay with that is called quiet quitting? No.
Yeah, that's
Anyway.
weird.
But, what words are added are very indicative of what's going on in that year. What was interesting is when I was looking up information for this episode, I realized that, because I always had the idea that it was that words that were added to the dictionary in the year were much more representative of that year. And it's actually a little bit more they're representative of the year before. Which
I've noticed,
I
yeah.
had not. I should have realized.
I mean, I noticed that only in like the past 2 weeks.
Right. But the idea of a codified central repository of English solidified with the first edition of the Oxford English Dictionary, published in 1884.
Wow.
So just because words are not in the dictionary does not mean they're not common usage. And that's something we really have to emphasize. When it's added to the dictionary, that's not when the word was invented. That's not when we all decided we were allowed to use it. That's when it became so much a part of our consciousness that it could no longer be ignored.
Yes.
And that's the same with slang. It becomes so much a part of our consciousness that it can no longer be ignored. And I don't think it ever should have been.
No.
The first edition of the Oxford English Dictionary, which I always consider the tippy-top pinnacle of the standard. I don't know. I always thought of Merriam-Webster as like the kind of kicky younger cousin.
I don't know very many people with opinions on the personalities of dictionaries.
Well, books have personalities. They also have smells, but that's for a different time.
Yeah, they do.
But they didn't start doing the updates to the contents of the OED. Oxford English Dictionary. I'm just going to start referring to it as OED from here on out. Disclaimer. Changes started being made in 1928 when language actually began to be added. And it reflected the fact that language literally always changes, and we just started documenting it.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about just a few word definitions here real quick, like classification definitions.
Okay.
So do you know what a cognate is?
Incognito?
Incognito. So a cognate, and if you've studied a foreign language, I think you're more likely to come across the term, but it's something that has a similar root and then has the same sounding word in two other child languages.
Okay.
So like family in English is familia in Spanish.
Yeah.
Familia is actually the Latin root as well. So those two are cognates of each other. They function the same way, they sound the same way, and they come from the same root.
Okay.
So a cognate is different from a loan word.
Okay.
And loan words are words that exist in one language and have been picked up by a different language. And you hear, at least I've heard complaints about, well, why are we adding, non-English words to the dictionary? I think you hear that kind of complaint from a very particular type of person, often at Thanksgiving.
As a person who lives in a land of Spanglish,
No, exactly.
what's
It's much
the
more normal
problem?
to us. But yeah, no, it gets complained about. Why would you add a word to the dictionary that is not a part of my language? There was pushback against Maori words being added to the dictionary in more recent memory. In older editions, like in the 30s, when Italian words started being added to the dictionary, it's a similar problem. Like, why are we adding, this isn't English? Like, well, because we like gelato and we would like to have some.
And yeah, exactly.
And with Italian, it was interesting, the trickle in of Italian words and usage in the dictionary was so random. We got tortellini, penne, and espresso in the English dictionary as far back as the 1910s. That would be Merriam-Webster,
Yes,
not the OED.
baby.
But it took us till the 1940s to get gelato and linguine.
Espresso, that was important, I will say.
Yeah, no, but you can absolutely track what people were encountering more often by how fast it got added into the common usage slush pile.
Okay.
Lewis Carroll actually coined the term portmanteau. So portmanteau is the term for a word that's made up of two words stuck together.
Example, please.
So motel is made up from motor hotel.
Okay.
And this is where I want to play a little bit of the game.
Okay.
I was like, I want you to guess what year words were added to the dictionary. So motel. What year do you think motel was added to the dictionary?
1952.
1925.
Oh, wow.
I
Okay.
know, right? Because it just makes you think of like Route 66.
Yes,
road
that's
trips,
exactly what
and
I thought
it's
of.
like, that has to be it. And I was like,
The movie, the Cars Disney movie. Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I thought of.
exactly.
Okay. Okay.
So parenting, what year do you think the word parenting was added to the dictionary?
I mean,
And this is Merriam-Webster, by the way, who was making revisions before 1928.
okay. I
That's a
mean, I would like to assume that it was in there from the beginning, but I guess not.
Just
So,
because you're not using a word for it doesn't mean it isn't occurring.
let's say 1937.
No, 1918, but that was still surprising to me.
Huh. Okay.
Because, yeah, I mean, it makes a little bit of sense because childhood as a separate entity from tiny adulthood is a pretty Victorian construct.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, it was, you just need to train up this little adult to do the adult things it just hasn't encountered before. But really, it's the same thing as you. They're just shorter and less coordinated.
That's
And
so
then-
true.
Yeah. Get to the Victorian era, they get their own clothing styles, which honestly didn't help anybody. They're not cute. But they have their own media that's being directed to them, books and paintings, toys.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what's the next word?
Fanboy.
A fanboy?
Yes, when was the word fanboy introduced to the dictionary? With the same definition that you're thinking of it now, like being really, really into thing of or person of your choice.
1965. I have no idea.
1919.
What were they fanboying in 1919?
So in 1919, it was just anything that you were that into. And then I didn't know this was a thing until I was trying to nail down the difference between a cognate and a loan word. A wanderwort.
Wanderwort.
Right. Just sounds like a job title that I would like to have.
Yeah, I'm all okay, like The Hobbit. Got it.
Right. Not all who wander are lost. Wanderwort is a word that has spread as a loan word among numerous languages and cultures, especially those that are far away from each other. I'm quoting from Wikipedia at the moment. As such, a Wanderwort or Wanderworter, because it was originally a German word, Wanderwort is its own Wanderworter.
Oh, okay.
But at a sufficient time depth, it can be really difficult to establish which language or language family the Wanderwort came from. But so it's something that has achieved such universal usage across so many different languages that it has become its own entity. And the example that they gave first was tea.
Like I'm drinking some tea?
Yes. The
Okay.
word tea originates in Chinese dialect, and it represents a separate language path from the Europeanized chai, which is also a wanderwort, but in a completely different track.
Oh, interesting.
So the type of language saturation that gives birth, if you will, to a wanderwort is almost always based in trade routes.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so other great examples of a wanderwort are sugar, cannabis, ginger, silver, mint, and wine. So, another word quiz.
Ooh, a word quiz. Let's do it.
Okay, so, hygge.
What?
Hygge.
Oh, I
Pronounced hygge.
don't know how to pronounce that, but that is like the Swedish or Norwegian cozy feeling.
Danish, I think, actually. Yes, Danish. Yep, the word that embodies the art of living cozily. So we now use that much more in English, enough that it was added to the dictionary in...
2019.
You were super close, 2016.
Oh,
Did
wow.
anyone else think of a year in which we needed more cozy comfort? Yes, many. But that's, yeah. Oh, man. Okay, Skid Row. What year was Skid Row added to the dictionary?
1923.
Nope, 1931.
Oh,
But it was coupled with hyperinflation, which came in
Great Depression.
1930. So that's what I was talking about earlier, is you can kind of tell what was going on the year before. So the word hyperinflation entered our consciousness in a codified manner in essentially 1929, wonder why,
Mhm.
and Skid Row directly after. This one surprised me a whole lot. Affluenza. When do you think we added that to our public consciousness?
I remember the affluenza kid.
Mm-hmm.
He like murdered someone or something, and the attorneys or his mom or somebody was like, well, he just like grew up with such high standards. He has affluenza. So I would say 2014.
See, and that was when I became aware of it as well, was during that trial. So the kid's name was Ethan Couch. And that was when I had encountered the word for the first time too, but actually it was originally documented in 1973.
Oh.
The original argument of affluenza, and so the argument that they made in the trial was that the kid couldn't be held responsible for his actions because he was just too darn rich and it made him sad. But what it was actually coined for was a study that I think actually did have some legitimacy behind it, which was it was a study of why people with a lot of means were still experiencing depression.
Oh.
And so the term was coined for that study to basically talk about another facet of the human mind that was occurring. It then gets picked up, and it actually wasn't used as a defense in the trial itself. The charges were driving while intoxicated and killing 4 pedestrians and injuring several others. So this was not a moment of, I have a lot of money, but yet I feel kind of unfulfilled and would like to explore that and possibly alleviate it. It was a lawyer who thought they were slick trying to use precedent in a bad way. And so, but that's all we remember about affluenza. And I'm not saying that it's necessarily something I want in general usage. I just think that it's that much more offensive. That the original study, I think, came forward with a lot more truth. Because
Right.
That's an equivalency of experiences argument, not a this is why I get to do whatever I want argument.
Right.
So, but 1973.
That's interesting. I would not have guessed that.
And last one in just quizziness,
Okay.
enshittification. It's my new favorite word.
Does that like have anything to do with Schitt's Creek?
No, that was one of the words added in 2024. I hadn't encountered it before. Enshittification describes the process by which a program starts out extraordinarily useful, good, does what it's supposed to, and then degrades itself over time, generally with things like in-app purchases or ill-advised upgrades. There's a lot of things that I think are subject to enshittification currently.
Wow, that's a
word.
funny word. I've never heard that word.
The word of the year last year, for Merriam-Webster at least last year, was brain rot.
Brain rot. That's okay.
That sounds like a really modern concept, doesn't it? Brain rot.
Yeah.
You're watching too many reels, you're reading too many comments, your brain is literally rotting. When do you think we got that term in common usage?
I have no context for this, so I'm going to say 1983.
1854.
Daggum.
Because Thoreau, Henry David Thoreau, author of Walden, was sort of bemoaning the same problem just pre-internet. The kids these days, they're rotting their brains. The brain rot is real because insert thing A, B, A through G that you're irritated with.
That is how it is, isn't it?
Right. But it always is. I remember reading this thing in college that was this dire warning against newspapers. Because it was lazy reading. It's just giving you the bullet points. If you didn't go out and learn something from a book, you just read an article. Newspapers are destroying our youth's brains.
Honestly, I was like, what do they want? Braille? Oh.
You should go out and read the book. There's this really great Slate article that we'll link on the website about the 19th century moral panic over paper technology. The ready availability of paper, coupled with much faster printing techniques in 1820s, started the serial fiction books popularity, otherwise known as pulp fiction. Pulp fiction actually gets its name from wood pulp paper, and it was only available because wood pulp paper was available.
And people didn't like that something was available to everyone.
And it's not even that. It's just any time that something becomes widely available, I think we immediately start getting the argument that it's not valuable. That scarcity is the only value that we have. And that's just not true. But that article is well worth the read. But my favorite quote was a letter to the editor in the Worcestershire Talisman from the late 1820s tells its young people to stop reading novels and read books of substance. Quote, far better were it for a person to confine himself to the plain and sober facts of recorded history and the lives of eminent individuals than to wander through the flowery pages of fiction.
I'm so many decades removed from being a teenager, and that sounds boring.
Long before Satanic Panic, we had Pulp Fiction perturbation.
I mean, and then there was like kids' novels and comic books, and yeah, it's always like a problem. But like with the newspaper, what do you mean go read a book? What book is going to tell me what happened in my town yesterday?
Well, first of all, you should rely on your household head to tell you how you feel about such things.
I am my household head, actually.
Well, then you should be engaging in regular discourse with the members of your community, sir.
They don't want me there because I'm a woman.
I'm going to have to refer you to your head of household then.
It's still me!
You see the problem. And I hope if we have conveyed nothing else with this podcast, we've made the case that the truth is much more sensational than fiction. The sober facts of history are yesterday's Pulp Fiction and tomorrow's rock and roll. This is more of an overview of language than a deep down nitty gritty. I do certainly hope that we have possibly inspired you. I hope you're having a wonderful week.
We hope you liked it. Don't forget to share us with your friends. Text us to your boss who doesn't know what the Met Gala is. That was me yesterday.
We're reference.
We are a reference. Bye, guys.
Bye.